Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and good afternoon. Welcome to Muscogee Media's Indian Time. We are so glad to be with you again as you watch our daily stream as we bring you up to speed on all things going on at Muscogee Creek Nation. Joined by media coordinator here, Jessica McBride. I am Jason Salzman. And Jessica, yesterday the big news was the budget order that came out from the Office of the Principal Chief, along with the commission of 3 new executive officers. But really the big thing was the budget order, just because of the timeliness of it and the deadline on it and the number of 90% is what we're going to have of our last year's fiscal 2016 budget. The good news for today and for the viewers today is we actually got a call from the principal chief of the Muscogee Creek Nation, James Floyd. Called in to sort of clarify some of the things from the order. Yesterday it was real new to us, and we were just kind of taking it on face value. I think he kind of gave us an explanation of what will be explained also in the meeting tomorrow.
He's going to be providing us a statement, hopefully while we're here in the stream.
Yeah.
We're
cool.
awaiting that statement.
Great.
But he had some clarifications on the budget. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the executive order that came out yesterday. And it says, based upon current revenues and projections of funds available for the 2017 fiscal year, all tribally funded budgets shall submit a 90% of the original FY 2016 comprehensive annual budget as approved by NCA 16-016 with the exception of required matching funds. So for a little bit of clarification for citizens who may not understand, different departments within the tribe are funded differently. For example, our health department receives federal funds. A lot of our community and human services departments receive grants.
Yes.
Departments like us are completely tribally funded. And so departments like us may be looking at submitting a budget at 90% of what it was last year. Chief Floyd is going to send us a statement for a little bit more clarification on that, so hopefully we'll have that before we wrap up here today.
Yeah, that's great. Yesterday, as we said, want to apologize for the miscommunication there with us as far as the we kind of had talked about health and really it's just fully tribally funded programs. So as you said, there's
some of health is tribal funded.
No, yeah, of course. I just mean 100%. It's not. So you look at programs like environmental services, they get in grants and they take some federal monies too. So not all programs up here, and as far as I would say, a lot of them aren't 100% tribally funded. So, well, unfortunately, we're one of the only ones that are. So, we are looking at a 10% decrease in our budget. So,
we're looking forward to the clarification because we don't really, keep the executive order says that it should, like all departments, because what we did was literally read what the executive order says, and he's going to issue a statement today. We don't know what that will be. But the executive order is already out there, and that is a legally that's something that can go into court, et cetera, as we saw during the Ellis administration, the executive order to shut down the casinos, et cetera. So I don't know how, his statement after he's issued the executive order is going to affect, if at all, the implementation of the executive order. So that's
we did some due diligence. We followed up with a contact who is a CFO, and they corroborated that upon first interpretation, it did look like our first assessment, by their assessment, was correct. So we do need some more clarification on that.
And hopefully we'll get that. Like you said, maybe while we're sitting here. I don't know.
And if we don't get it while we're here today, then of course we will relay that to the citizens.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're going to be keeping up with you here on Indian Time as well as all of our other outlets and updates and tables and all that good stuff. I mean, we got like 6 or 7 different segments now. But it's all in an effort to get the citizens information, and a lot of the times information as it happens. I think that's really neat because a lot of citizens out there, they're not privy to the things we are here as far as like getting an email in and finding out there's a new director at an apartment or something like that, and we get that daily. We get those things daily, and so this sort of opens it up to the citizens in a way that it never before has been. I think it's pretty neat, and it's real time, and it really enhances our site. more than anything.
Jessica, could you let's walk Jason through the new stuff on the page in the documents.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to our Muscogee Media website, which is muscogeemedia.com, we've got a couple of new things up here. As promised, we have uploaded all the documents concerning our story regarding the health deficit. So if you go to archives and then go to documents, you're going to see a couple of things. We had the 2014 audit up originally. We now have the 2013 audit. Both of these audits are on...
Could you make that a little bit bigger just for the screen? Yeah, that's
How's
fine.
that?
That's good.
Okay.
Perfect.
So both of these audits are on the entire nation as a whole. This isn't just an audit on the health department. It's on the entire nation.
And 2013 was internal, wasn't it?
No,
we did that one.
No, 2013. Now it's kind of confusing, and let's see if we can go to it real quick because I don't believe we went to it yesterday. So when you go to the document for the 2013 audit and you go down, it says prepared by the Finance Office of the Muscogee Creek Nation on this first page, but on the second page. Or maybe it's the fourth page, excuse me.
Oh,
on
Arledge.
the fourth page, we have Arledge and Associates, certified public accountants, who are reporting the audit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bit confusing, and that is one of the things that we will have to clarify as we move forward with this housing story. But the 2013 audit is available on our website, as well as the 2016, 2015, 2014, and 2013 health budgets. Now, this is the health portion of the comprehensive annual budget. You'll hear it referred to as the CAB. And this is the information that we were provided by the Muscogee Creek Nation Finance Department. You will notice a note right here on the 2016 health budget. Now, this is a large file size, so when you go to click on this, it won't appear how the 2014 audit did, how it just appears in your browser. You will actually have to download the document because it is a large file size. The rest of the budgets you shouldn't have to download, but it may depend on your computer, your web browser. But those budgets are available for the citizens so that they can refer to them. One of the other things we uploaded is we've got a timeline available. Now, what this timeline shows is it shows how much health was budgeted for the for the year and when they were budgeted. It also shows this goes from 2013 all the way up to 2016 when we just passed this loan to help out the health department. This is all the appropriations, well, not all the appropriations, but the larger appropriations to the Department of Health and anything that kind of came through council. It also refers to about when the audits were completed and when they would have had the reports, so that citizens can get an idea of when council was spending things and when the audit reports were coming out, since this is a lot of information.
And it takes sort of the picture that we provided recently on our social media site of the timeline in your office and basically puts it in digital form. A little bit easier to decipher than having all the pull tabs on it and everything like that. So that's very neat. I'm glad we got that.
Yes, it's really a neat tool, and you'll be able to scroll through it and go backwards and forwards so you can see exactly when council appropriated these funds. Now, some of these funds, where it says that they've approved the appropriations, some of these appropriations are made out of health accounts, so it was funds that they already had in their accounts. Some of the funds are appropriated from outside of the health accounts, and we'll go on as we continue with the story. We'll go on and clarify that.
Right. Well, it looks like there's a lot of good information just under the archive document section now in the website, to where you could spend a week in that tab there going through all of those documents and those files and looking through. A lot of people, I would advise you to stay with us just because we'll be a resource and an assistance in breaking all this down, because even for us, sometimes looking at some of these documents, it's like, okay, there's a bunch of numbers and words, but what does it all mean? that's basically there for a reference as well as us, so you can watch our coverage.
Yeah, and any
with
citizens
it.
that have experience in financial matters or anything like that, you know, like there's plenty of information there in that documents tab. You can get a clear-cut picture of the health division through all those years and the timeline of when things were spent, and
Right.
et cetera.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
and if you know, like, because one of the things is, you know, like our department's limited in the number of people that can report on things and investigate into things. So that's one of the reasons we wanted to get all the raw data out there, and then citizens themselves can even go through that data and put together their own informed opinions.
Yep, and there's a lot there to go through, as I said. So you have that MuscogeeMedia.com archives and into our documents tab. A lot of stuff there, and I want to thank Jessica and everybody really that's been kind of around the clock, kind of getting those scanned in, getting all the documents ready to be viewed on the site. That's really a boon for our site, especially in its infancy stages, to be able to provide such black and white, cut clear documentation on a lot of things that's going on right now and pertinent information to
Right,
the citizens.
and since this website's brand new and we're kind of brand new to, you know, uploading the documents for citizens to be able to see, you know, we'll get better at this and faster at this, and so bear with us as we break this story.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if we got any questions coming in. Do you see that at all? Have we got any questions coming in?
Let's find out.
Well, we might. And now I want to take this time for those out there watching. If you do have questions, you can interact with us in the live chat there and send in a question. We will answer it to the best of our ability. If not, you know, it's our job as journalists to figure out the answer to those questions. So we can certainly dig and research and get what you need as far as answers, and that's what we're all about here at Muscogee Media. Looking around the country too, you know, yesterday I saw the story in the USA Today about the Navajo woman that was no questions, by the way. So if you want to ask a question, go ahead. Did you see the story though on the USA Today about the Navajo woman shot by the police
I didn't.
in Arizona?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, well, basically it's a Navajo woman that was shot by the police in Winslow, Arizona, I believe it was, which is like Jared and I pulled up the map. It's like right on the border of the Navajo Nation there, and it's just outside of Flagstaff, right there off the highway. So, but yesterday the story in the USA Today was that there had been this shooting. She had been shot 5 times, and I think there was some sentiment from Navajo people in the area that were like, we don't have the best relationship with the police in that area. The Navajo president and vice president both gave statements. And they were, as I said yesterday, were political in nature, but also recognizing that there may be something to this here. And so today, and you can maybe try to pull it up, but today there was a photo out of the officer that was involved in the shooting, okay, with a T-shirt on that was like a right-wing extremist group or something like that.
You know what website this was on?
Well, I think I saw it on Facebook, but that was like the Vision Vote Today. I mean, is that okay? I think, you know, I don't know if they got anything like that, but I just thought it was funny because yesterday we had mentioned that story, and then I was scrolling through today and I saw that it had the
Facebook?
picture.
Is it
Yeah,
on
we
your
go ahead.
Facebook?
Yeah, we can log in if you want to. Yeah. Let me log on there. Yeah, I think I could find it.
You know, we also need to periodically take a peek at that tab there, Jessica, when you get a chance
Yeah.
to see if we've gotten that update from Chief Floyd as far as how that he doesn't. When you spoke with him before, he doesn't want them. It's not referred to as cuts. He says not cuts, but he's going to issue a statement on that.
Yeah, I was saying that vote for the vision proposals going on today, including that whole issue involving the low water dams.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's going
and
on.
Tulsa County Sheriff and the controversy surrounding that.
And if you did forget and you haven't voted yet, polls in Tulsa County are open until 7 p.m. this evening.
Okay, here it is. Austin Shipley. Okay, nativenewsonline.net. Okay, this is the guy here. Austin Shipley, officially named as killer of 27-year-old Navajo woman on Easter. He's a 3-year veteran of the Winslow Police Department. And this is the picture that they talked about. This picture is the logo on the shirt is like a right-wing extremist group, I think, is what they were saying. The police is sticking by its story. A third-party criminal investigation is being conducted. The Arizona Department of Public Safety is looking in on this. I think we reported that yesterday. But yeah, and we could probably get some more information on this shirt now that we know his name and we maybe looked through and saw, I don't know, Austin Shipley shirt or something like that, because I know that it's been the headline. But this is something I think that's probably we'll probably take a hard look at, and not just the fact that it happened, the coverage of it, right? Because if we've seen things happen in Baltimore, in New York, and in Ferguson, Missouri, where things like this happen, and it caused a nationwide uproar. So far, the only place that I've seen this on today is nativenewsonline.net. And it's just like
back, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Sterling, 6 months ago. Recently, we had a citizen in Tulsa County that was actually shot by a security officer, Monroe Bird III.
Right.
And he was shot and paralyzed. And because the family couldn't afford the expenses because the insurance wouldn't cover him, they had to take him home, and he did pass away from his injuries.
Yeah.
And they did a preliminary investigation and found that the security guard was within his right to fire his weapon. And so I think, this is just another one of those stories of was the firing of the weapon justified?
Yeah, I mean it's just that these are always so tough, because at the end of the day, somebody's dead. I mean,
being one person's word against
one word against another. One of those people are dead, obviously, that could give some insight, maybe. It is what it is, and we talked about yesterday the fact that. There was a gentleman that was essentially a witness to this that had his son with him, or stepson, and he was like, "Hey, look there, somebody stole. This is what happens when you steal." Showing them like they're gonna get arrested, and then this woman gets shot, and he's just like, "Oh, never mind," or like, "I just thought she was gonna get arrested and booked. I didn't know she was gonna get filled with 5 bullets." Yeah. So I mean. Can that guy possibly be a witness in something that happened maybe excessive? Is it part of a conspiracy with the local law enforcement in that area that has problems with people from the Navajo Nation? And somebody said that she may have had a pair of scissors or something like that, or was going to attack the guy.
About that too is, how we have here the cross-deputization agreement.
Yes, yes.
Do they have that? Does the Navajo, because of their proximity to the reservation, is there any type of cross-deputization?
They're a traditional reservation. They don't have shared jurisdiction.
Right.
That's going to create an even more situation where it's like the local police in those local towns that are around the reservation can't go onto the reservation and do any enforcement activities. So if they see someone who lives on the reservation in their community, they're going to be like, we got to get him right now, or it's going to create that culture of like, if they get to the other side of the thing, I can't do anything there.
It's a good point, and I think it's a point worth bringing up. You never know what's inside the mind of these people, and we want to believe, right, that all of our law enforcement officials are on the up and up and things like that, but they're just people, like the rest of us. They have their own personal opinions. In many cases, prejudices about all kinds of things, not just people and races, but just all kinds of things. There may be a cop that really hates to see somebody sagging their pants.
Yeah, and stressful situations can exacerbate prejudices that they're not so overt about.
Right, and we know too from this story that this woman was essentially or allegedly stealing beer, right? Doing a beer run. So, you look at that and you go, well, is this a cop that's like bought into the whole, like, I'm sick and tired of these Indians that just want to drink and cause trouble and, all this other stereotype. And you wonder if that goes into things. I'm just saying, I'm not, whatever, but you look at the story and you take everything for what it is and you just sort of try to break it down and look at it at face value. You sort of kind of get into those things. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this story. Like I said, this incident may not be near as important as the aftermath and what becomes of it, because I think that right now is when you're dealing with a lot of people nationwide, especially Native people, that go, people really just don't care about us. They don't. If it's having to do with the African American community, something like that, it becomes a huge issue. If it's about Native Americans, people could care less because they think none of us are still here, or they're not around. So there's nobody to answer to. That's why activism and people letting their voice be heard in respectful ways, but being involved in the communities and things like that, and taking pride in who you are, being an advocate and somebody that takes part in your government, takes part in your tribal functions, takes part in your tribal media, gets involved. That's important, because that's the only way these people are going to hear us and know that there are a large faction of people that they're going to have to answer to. Stories like this aren't going to just go away if there's a lot of people that demand answers. So that'll be important to look at there.
And also, like we were talking about the cross-deputization agreement, so that's something that the Creek Nation established in order to forge a relationship between two separate communities, even because the communities are so close together.
Yeah.
So you have a reservation situation where the police can't go on the reservation and like nobody from the reservation has any input on the community that they are going into the place and buying groceries or moving through. It creates this huge divide, because for the police officer, like there is no, like, that particular thing is technically not one of his constituents or one of his people from his town, and that person has no input on anything that he does or anything, So it's like from his perspective, what blowback could there be?
Yeah. Well, and then another thing to look at, Jared, I think it's great that you bring that up. And let's just be real here. Our own Light Horse is cross-deputized in this area, but I got to tell you, we've recently had a cancellation of a memorandum of understanding with the Sheriff's Department here in our area that says Light Horse aren't doing their job. And so we do a story on that where, we speak with the sheriff, and he says we can't take on the liability issue that comes from Light Horse Police not doing paperwork and not following proper police protocol with people that are non-native, in the Muscogee area.
And that goes both ways.
And we covered that in the Muscogee Nation News. You can see it in the archives.
Did that get resolved? I know that the chief
Sterling?
Yeah, it's time. We're probably due for an update. And what's interesting was I was on our walking trail here in the complex that goes by the Light Horse Police building, and I saw a bunch of sheriff cars, patrol cars from different counties.
Right.
So I did wonder if they are
maybe
trying to
they're
resolve that right
maybe
now.
they are. And I know from talking with Principal Chief Floyd, that was one of the main objectives of him coming in, was repairing that.
Chief confirmed either.
Yeah, right.
I
That
think
there's
that plays into that.
and how much does the shuffling of, we've seen a couple of a chief be removed, then another chief put up forth, and now him pulled back and another one put forth. So how much does that have to deal with it?
Well,
or is that what's going on there?
Tulsa County Sheriff.
Yeah.
You see where the Wagner Sheriff is under charges of corruption right
Yeah.
now?
And I believe there was something going on in Creek County too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and we're looking at and Jared saw something yesterday where some DAs are getting in some trouble too, or maybe have some questions that they need to answer.
Well, the
pension thing,
that
but
you're referring to, that's something that they brought that back several times since that legislation created that opening for those individuals to increase their pension. So they didn't actually do anything illegal, but it doesn't, like...
It doesn't look good.
Yeah, that's why they bring the story back.
Right.
Because, for instance, the top of the list in that story was Tom Giuliani. Everybody in Muscogee will know Tom from here or there or the other
Yeah.
thing. And that, according to that article, the figure that he's making in retirement is technically higher than the figure he made whilst employed in the position.
Wow.
So his retirement...
It pays more to retire is what you're saying.
In his
Yeah.
retirement than he got in
Yeah.
the thing. So, but that's all in the
Yeah.
story that was reported in News on 6. I think that was yesterday.
Yeah. No, I didn't want to get into a whole, official corruption expose here. But at the same time, we are bringing up points that there are issues out there, and there are, you see trickle-down effects from those issues. Yeah. And we look at the whole... For us, the big story with that whole thing is that the memorandum of understanding. Is it still in place? Is it being repaired? How much headway have we made with that? I got to tell you, I don't think Chief Floyd expected, that he was going to be taken away from that. So, in such a magnitude, because I think he came in and said, yeah, we'd like to look at the memorandum of understanding. And then he came in and said, well, look at this deficit. Okay, everything else on hold.
Well, and
right.
we did some research. Sterling, please, your input's needed on here. But we did some research on previous cabinet nominations with previous principal chiefs, and some of those took as long as 6 months. Is that correct?
I wouldn't even call it research. I was looking for some other stuff and looked at old council coverage, and I want to say on into July for the last administration in 2012, there were cabinet confirmations coming through.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I guess you would say it's not out of the ordinary. And as far as I could see in the Constitution, he rolls out these commissioned officers every month, renewed, the ones that are confirmed, and I don't know that there's how much of a limit there is that can go on.
Well, as a citizen, I don't think it should be quick. I think it should be a thorough vetting process. I
know when I was doing some research in the code previously, I think the only one that had a limit for cabinet confirmation was the Attorney General, and I think there was a stipulation in there that if one wasn't appointed within 60 days or so, then the National Council could move and appoint one. Now, we do have an appointed Attorney General now that is confirmed by the Council, Kevin Dellinger. Yeah.
Is there anything coming up, or is there anything been released by the Council which would indicate who next up on the docket would be to confirm?
We've got a couple of meetings coming through for committee meetings starting next week and the week after.
Should probably have an idea then.
So once those agendas are released, we'll see those start to be released, I think, at the end of this week. Yeah. And we'll be able to see who is coming up through committee.
Well, and then we can pick back up with our executive officer profiles then here on the site.
Yeah, and I think we should tell the audience too. Our idea, the original idea for the executive officer or the cabinet profiles was that we would profile the cabinet nominations before they went before the council and confirmed, so that the citizens would have an opportunity to see the individuals on this list and then hear from those individuals themselves, and then the citizens, if they wanted to go speak to their council to say, I think you should do this or I think you should do that, would be able to do it. And Chief Floyd had told us that he would prefer it if we interviewed them after they were confirmed, so we had to work through the confines of the PR department on that because they're going. All of the cabinet nominees and appointees are going to do what the chief tells them to do.
Right.
So,
well, we understood Chief Floyd's recommendation there and respected it, so we wouldn't pursue. At the same time, from our perspective, what better way for the citizens to get a look at who could possibly be heading up these executive offices than to which as we have presented it, just a raw sit-down conversation and look and delve in to these people's experiences, their state of mind, and their plans. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what Jared was getting at there as far as before they're confirmed. Because we heard straight from a National Council representative, I didn't vote for somebody because I heard from my constituents not to vote for somebody. Imagine if those constituents watched an interview with that woman or man or whatever who's up for confirmation and go, wow, after seeing them and hearing, they've got good ideas, and
Or
I don't know who told me.
More remixed reviews.
Or just a better idea. I mean, so both sides of the coin really work there, and so I thought, that was something that was real. That stood out to me was the fact that it would be a chance to maybe see them and go, making a lot of sense, saying some good things. Wow, he or she really seems to think that the things to clean up are the same things I think to clean up. I'm not going to call my councilman after all. I think this one is fine to be confirmed. So I don't know if that would have happened, but
or in the opposite, they could say,
or the opposite.
I like this idea. I want you, call your councilman and say, I want you to vote yes on this.
Yes,
person,
on this person. Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is, a lot, in the community, a lot of people's minds made up about things that might have happened in the past, or maybe they possibly don't like the particular family of the person that they come from, et cetera, and on down the list.
Yeah.
But if you get in a situation where you can hear what the person is going to do when they go into office, then you can say, I don't really like that person, but I like that idea and I want that idea to happen because I agree with that.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I saw the latest thing I saw was to switch gears real quick with the national campaign. I know Wisconsin today is the Wisconsin primary, so it'd be interesting to see what some of our Native brothers and sisters, which we've got a big Native population up there in Wisconsin, will how they'll show up at the polls, things like that. But I did see today where Bernie Sanders has hired a Native American as a staffer on his campaign. So that was out. I believe that was on the Nadja page.
Well, he's got. If you go to our page, I believe it is still on.
I think I just saw the headline
news
actually.
Tab. Let's look. Here we go.
What website are you on? That's very easy to navigate, and there's tons of information on there.
I recently did a story on the presidential candidates and their impact to Indian country. And so if you go to our website and click on news, you'll find one of the headlines and you'll be able to click on it and read it. And it's called Presidential Candidates Discuss Their Impact to Indian Country.
Didn't you just say that?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I'm kind of repetitive.
You stopped that redundancy today. Okay, go ahead.
So I reached out to all 5 of the candidates. Senator Bernie Sanders, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Senator Ted Cruz, Governor John Kasich, and then Donald Trump. I reached out to all of them to kind of give them a fair shot at what they would do, for Indian country. I did hear back from Hillary Clinton. They referred us to her website. Okay. And she's got some clarifications.
How Hillary of them.
On how she views different Native American issues.
Is her website hosted on her own server?
Oh, Jared. I tell you what. Cherokee Nation sure likes their ideas. Old Bill John is fired up. Now, let me tell y'all.
I think he's a supporter.
Yeah, he's a supporter. All right. No, go ahead, Jessica.
I also reached out to Ted Cruz. I didn't get a response from him. But his website information is there for citizens to go through. The same thing with Governor Kasich. Didn't hear back from him, so I left his website for citizens to browse his thoughts. I did hear back from Bernie Sanders' campaign, and I actually spoke with Nicole Willis.
Okay, I think this is the one I'm referring to.
She's his tribal outreach strategist. Now, she is from the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, and she had a lot to say about Bernie Sanders and his campaign, his thoughts on Native American issues, and so I put a lot in there, and a lot that discusses issues for the Muscogee Creek Nation. For example, the Hickory Ceremonial Ground issue over in Alabama.
Yeah.
Their response to that.
Wow. Okay.
Well, it wasn't a specific response, and I'll quote what she says. She says that he's come out very strongly about protecting sacred places. He's been emphasizing in his meetings with tribal leaders that it's part of tribal sovereignty to be able to designate your sacred place and to protect that place from desecration. I also asked about the 47 Act. Now, for citizens who don't know what that is, when the lands were originally allotted to citizens of the Creek Nation, they were allotted in restricted status. Now, all these other Native American tribes, other than the 5 tribes, were allotted lands in trust status. So it doesn't matter what blood quantum you are or anything like that. That land stays in trust status for as long as you have heirs. Our lands aren't like that. They were allotted in restricted status, so once you fall under the 50% blood quantum, that land falls out of restricted status and is therefore taxed.
Unless you get it put into trust.
Unless you get it put into trust, and we all know how long it takes to get land put into trust. And
touche,
actually,
federal government. Touche. Good play there.
They're fighting that.
Yeah.
They're fighting putting it into trust. They're dragging their feet.
It's unprecedented to have state involvement in really any tribal issues,
Right.
especially having legal oversight.
And what the federal government
dealing with
did,
land in the trust issues, I mean, that's just...
Well, the federal government lumped it on the state of Oklahoma. They said the state of Oklahoma, you deal with the land of the 5 civilized tribes. And so I actually got a response from her, and I mean, it wasn't a specific response, but she did say he is aware that Oklahoma, Alaska, and Hawaii are kind of facing very specific statewide situations when it comes to how we work with tribes. And so I think that's definitely something that he would want to work with the Oklahoma tribal leadership on. So there's a lot there that you can read about the candidates. I did reach out to Donald Trump, and they declined to provide a written statement and an interview.
Okay.
So I did put that in there, and his website's also there for any citizens who would
Well,
like
if
to
we
reach
could have
out.
gotten a statement from him, that would have been huge. Sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, have we?
I think, that just reminds me of the fact that,
hold on. Do we want to keep going until the last minute to try to get the statement from Chief Floyd, or do we want to wrap at 4:30? This is the decision you guys have to make, because we're scheduled for 3:30 to 4:30. It's going to become our alternate time. We haven't received the statement yet, but we could wait until as late as you guys want and then wrap. You want to wait for the statement and see if we get it before 5?
I'm going to look on my mail real quick. See if we got anything coming through.
You could always do the...
Just go down to you can go down to the bottom on yours, and yours is in the mail app on there.
You could probably go to 4:30 and see where they're at riff-wise.
Well, it's 4:08, so we're getting close.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they're but they don't know. The chief's office doesn't realize that we're doing a live stream right now, so that they'll send it when they have what they want to issue, like the statement.
For some clarification, I know we were talking about the 47 Act earlier. Now that is the act of 1947. That's what the federal government refers to it as.
Right.
Now, one of the senators that did the 47 Act, last name was Stigler, and so it's
Act.
also referred to the Stigler Act for those citizens.
Thank you. Eli Grayson's watching us. He sent in a message and clarified that for us. So thank you, Eli.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. So yeah, the Stigler Act. I think that Google, research, do what you got to do as a citizen. If you don't know anything about 47 Act, Stigler Act, land into trust, anything like that, because you hear about removal, disease, everything like that. The federal government's really getting rid of us with blood quantum. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, it is a big problem. So keep an eye on that. Everything that we're doing, we're still putting out content daily. And like I said, we're waiting, as you said, for Principal Chief James Floyd statement on everything. He's got a lot on his plate. Big meeting tomorrow. Big decisions to make.
I believe they had meetings today as well with some different departments. So
okay.
Ours is just tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
great.
You might mention to the audience the meeting tomorrow morning about the independent agencies.
Meeting tomorrow morning about the independent agencies for the budget order. Yeah. No, I believe it's taking place tomorrow morning, first part of the day.
What do you think it's going to be?
I don't know. I think
Because we have no idea. It's just in the executive order that there will be a meeting for.
Where does it say about the meeting?
They've got it divided out, and I was wrong. It's not today. It is tomorrow and Thursday. And so tomorrow from 8:30 to noon, the executive branch, which I believe that will be like Chief's office, second Chief's office, the administration, Department of Administration, Department of Treasury, Department of Justice, and the independent agencies will be meeting tomorrow from 8:30 to noon to kind of go over the budget. Now this from what I understand, this is for representatives of departments in those areas.
Okay.
Now Thursday morning, the Department of Education, Community and Human Services, and the Department of the Interior will be meeting on Thursday morning, and then later that afternoon they will have the Judicial Branch and the National Council, and then later they will have Health and Housing.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds good. We will have probably some updates on what that actually does mean. Jared asked me what it means. I really don't know till we go and figure out what's happening. And then we'll of course let you know. Nothing we find out here as Muscogee Media is hidden from the citizens, so it'll all be reported on and talked about.
That's the way we're going to keep it all the way.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's your government. Everyone's a stakeholder.
And if you have questions or thoughts on stories that we should do, anything like that, I mean, by all means, contact us via the website. Give us a call. The main phone number is 918-732-7720. And just ask to speak with one of us, and then that way we can get the leads in and get your story told.
Message us on Facebook.
Message us, yes. Email.
I think next time we do
all of our contact info is on the site.
We're going to try to get, I don't know if we have another laptop, but if we can get another laptop at the table,
That'd be great.
We really need to have Facebook open, and Twitter open, all of those things open to take questions from all of those avenues. Some people aren't going to go to YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I need my own. I don't know why you took my laptop. Why'd you take my laptop?
This is the department laptop.
Oh yeah. Whoops.
Wait, that is.
Can't get into that way of thinking. That's not mine. This isn't my microphone.
Add a laptop to the budget.
Oh, add a laptop to the budget. Okay. I can't. I was going to, but that would make up the 10% that I have to cut. All right.
It's a smaller budget. Laptop is 10%.
Oh no. This is the only time I've ever wished that we were totally made up of grants. You know what I mean? I wish we just were grant funded all the way through. I never wanted to take anything from the federal government until today. No. Right. Well, all right. Well, I think that's enough today. We've had a good time here.
We got 15 minutes left.
We got 15 minutes left. Wow, Jared, nobody's holding a gun to our head.
What's the light stuff? You got anything light?
No, I mean,
we got some new content up today. Training our staff on uploading to web.
Training our staff, getting them uploaded on the web. Getting all the information up. What's neat about the new site too is that like everybody's an administrator, so you get some content ready to go, slap it up there. Of course, it'll go through some channels. Sterling's nickname is I've always said it. Sterling's nickname around here is Fine Toothed Comb because he's got to filter it out.
Because I got long hair.
That's it, and a nice beard.
Let's advertise for ourselves since we're
MuscogeeMedia.com.
We are accepting advertising now.
Yes.
So citizens out there that have their own business or you have something that you do want to advertise, we're accepting advertising for their website, for the paper, for the TV show, for the radio show, and I believe that pricing should be on the website.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Services.
This is the services, and then this is the advertising policy. So as we're uploading these things to the website, if you find something and you have questions, you want to advertise with us, give us a call, contact us, email us, whatever the case may be, so that you can advertise with us.
Yeah. Those are the gremlins.
The gremlins are coming. Yeah, if you hear that in the background, the gremlins are coming to get us. I believe somebody Must have given them water. I don't know what happened.
Well, the gremlins will disappear after the 10% reduction because we won't be able to feed them anymore.
I don't understand what their deal is. Every time we try to do a production or something, they start clanging around up there. So, whatever. Inherent challenges, folks. You got to deal with them on a daily basis. All right. Well, softer stuff, I guess you could say. We've got a pretty good show coming out this weekend, Saturday on the CW, 1 p.m. Native News Today. Not only will we have a sit-down with the new Secretary of the Interior, Mr. Christopher Asbell, which is a good interview. A lot of good information covered in there and a lot of things. Chris is a very candid guy. So, it's good to be able to hear from an official in a capacity like that. Also, what you got?
Well, we got to give Gary a holler tomorrow on the Muscogee
Yes,
radio.
Gary.
He's speaking about Week of the Young Child with a couple tribal representatives, and also going to be speaking to us. Hey, we're going to be on again.
Yeah.
Talking with representatives from each of our divisions about what the rebranding means to them.
In the words of Gary, according to that news, he would react like this. He would say, "Gosh, we kind of like ourselves around here, don't we?"
Yeah, you won't even know if it's Gary or Salts tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, I will fool you. He may not even be there, and Gary Fife will still be hosting the radio show. Jared's going on the radio show.
That's right.
Last time that happened, somebody ended up in the chief's office. Just going to throw that out there.
Well, we can't go in chief's office anymore.
That's true. Yeah, I can't do
Your
that.
beard stuck in the microphone?
No, yeah, no.
It's
It's a long story. We'll explain it some other time.
Well, Gary asked me on because he wants to, we're kind of going to give a rundown to anybody who's not already tech savvy with the internet or anything
Right.
like that. The process that you would go through to get subscribed to the YouTube channel so that you receive notifications on your phone and your computer whenever we stream or post a video. That's part of what we're doing, and also things that might be happening in the future. And we're probably going to talk about, depending on whether Gary wants to or not, the budget reduction.
Well, I was going to say, it's good that
we're
we're talking about people getting more tech savvy, because our audience is going to have to get more tech savvy, I think, because as we look at things that we're going to need to eliminate, there's a real possibility of taking our show off TV, online content exclusively, and also radio, podcasting, things like that, to where we don't have outside costs associated with airtime and whatnot. So
and
something we got to explore.
We need to shout out to, like, if you are a citizen and you don't want to see the TV show come off the air and you don't want to see the radio show come off the radio,
right.
Contact Chief Floyd's office and tell him whatever you need to do to make it happen, because that's one of the things we're looking at.
We're looking at the paper being only monthly too.
The paper's going to go from being 2 times a month to one
time a month.
We don't know yet.
Maybe. These are things that are all on the table.
None of that,
the table.
Yeah, none of that stuff will take action until October 1st, but if it gets past the point of no return on this deal, and those things do get cut from our department, October 1st, all of those things will shut down.
Yes.
And then, at that point, it'll be even more difficult to go back and retroactively get the funding back into the department to do those things.
Well, folks, this is, to quote Leo from The Aviator, the way of the future. I mean, news is
It
an
is.
outlet of expediency, and there's nothing faster than the internet.
And I've got a few updates here that have been sent out today through our email.
Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
All right, I'm going. Could you
do you know-
zoom
Yeah,
in
we
a
got
little
it.
bit?
So this is a memo from National Council Speaker Lucian Tiger. Former McIntosh District National Councilman Anthony Tony David Nataro passed away on April 2nd, 2016. The wake will be at 6 p.m. today at Kelly Memorial Chapel in Eufaula. Funeral services will be Wednesday at 1 p.m. at Kelly Memorial Chapel in Eufaula. So if that's something that you need to attend, that is those dates and times. There also, April has been announced as Child Abuse Awareness Month, so they're saying go blue on April 8th to wear blue. I believe there's a proclamation from Chief Floyd too.
Yeah,
I'll
Child
zoom
Abuse
in on
Awareness
that
Month.
as declaring April as Child Abuse Awareness Month.
If I may, Jessica, just a few words about Tony.
Absolutely.
When I first came on here, and Jared too, Tony was a councilman.
Absolutely.
Good guy, really had a heart for the people. And Tony was one of those councilmen that he really didn't care if you liked what he did,
Yeah.
right? Or how he voted about something or whatever. He did what stuck to his principles. He stuck to his guns. He just had a real good understanding of being a public servant to the Creek people. Loved Creek people and was kind of a visionary because, as pointed out by our good friend Eli Grayson as well today, because he was involved in it too, Tony was one of the first councilmen to really reach out to the at-large citizens.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make an effort and say, look, we got a whole wide-ranging citizenry out there that feels like they're disconnected from the tribe, that feels like they're not around so that they're not plugged in. And so we started going out to California. We started having meetings out there. We started advocating for our at-large citizens. So that guy's important as far as our history and that whole shift in focus. And I really, I considered him a friend. And so for me, it's a loss. Tony was a good guy, and he was a heck of a national council member from the McIntosh district, which is my home. So I want to say condolences to his friends and family, and also, just to the Creek Nation. It's a loss, and it seems like this last calendar year and now even bleeding into this year, we've lost some good ones, and Tony was a good one, and that's just all I wanted to say about that. But he was somebody that made a difference while he was here.
Now, the loss of his influence in the community will really be felt.
Yeah.
He was a guy who knew everybody,
Yep.
and often was a behind-the-scenes performer who got things accomplished. So,
Yeah, didn't care about getting the accolades or the credit.
No.
Worked tirelessly and selflessly, so he'll be missed. Well, do you guys wanted to cover anything else before we get to that?
The only
The
other
proclamation.
things that updates that we have for today is, the Week of the Young Child is April 10th through the 16th. That's been a proclamation by
Okay.
Chief Floyd. And they've also sent out, it's already festival time.
Oh my gosh. What?
They've announced the golf tournament.
Oh man, Sterling
And so
will have
they
a
are
do-rag
taking-
on before we know it.
Now they've got several golf tournaments going on. One of them's June 10th, one June 11th, one June 12th. The deadline to register is June 1st. So contact our tourism and recreation department so that you can sign up for that.
Okay.
And that's all the updates I believe I have.
All right, everyone. Well, keep it right here, MuscogeeMedia.com. As we said, lots of information being updated daily, and we will be updating you daily with Indian Time. We hope you enjoy Indian Time. What's weird about Indian Time is it starts a little late than it's supposed to. Wait, is that weird, or is that just
check one more time? No?
perfectly right on?
All right, okay.
No. All right.
Well, it's 4:23.
4:23.
When we get that statement, it'll be up on our Facebook page, and we'll try to get it to web
Yeah.
too. And
We'll get it up as soon as we get it. Yep. All right. Well, thank you, folks, for joining us today. We hope that you've enjoyed, the banter, and we try to make this a little bit fun, lighthearted. It's the end of the day. We understand everybody's kind of just trying to get to 5 and all that, and we wanted to get you anything that we get throughout the day. So Indian Time, put it on your calendars. Make sure that it's something daily that you get plugged into, so you know what's happening here at Muscogee Media. Jessica, thanks for joining me,
Thank you.
and we'll see you guys tomorrow.